What is up, everybody? Welcome once again to my YouTube channel, and today let's continue with our final round of our career modes. We are still in the Manor, and today let's see who can take the World Drivers Championship as we approach the start of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. As you can see on our left hand side, we have, after the qualifying session, we are leading the rivalry against Max Verstappen, and in the right hand side of your screens you can see the vehicle performance comparison between all the cars. As we move on to the results of the third qualifying session, we got pole followed by Lewis Hamilton and Daniel Ricciardo, with Nico Rosberg in 4th, Verstappen in 5th, Valtteri Bottas in 6th, Sebastian Vettel in 7th, Kimi Raikkonen in 8th, Nico Hülkenberg in 9th and Felipe Massa in 10th. As we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, as Lewis Hamilton does not get the best of starts. Daniel Ricciardo and Nico Rosberg are already side by side with them. Nico Rosberg backs out from the move, but Ricciardo around the outside onto the first corner. Looks like he has his nose ahead. Let's see as we go uphill through this right-hander, which goes downhill onto the end of the first sector, and looks like he's already up to P2. As we take now a look further back onto the middle of the pack, we have contact now under braking between Kimi Raikkonen and Pascal Wehrlein, who looks like he's already on the top 10. Pascal Wehrlein got the inside out of the chicane and got the move done very cleanly indeed. As we jump now onto the leading positions into the top 3, Lewis Hamilton has the superior power unit and the slipstream, and looks like he's catching up to Daniel Ricciardo, and looks like he's going to overtake the Australian as we approach the braking zone onto the next chicane. As we can see right behind them, we have Max Verstappen, battling with Valtteri Bottas. They are both side by side through this chicane. They bang wheels, but looks like not too much was damage on both of their cars, but they slowed down that strain. And now Pascal Wehrlein has an opportunity to get his move done. He's already side by side with Nico Hülkenberg. He can make another position on the inside of Vettel. Looks like he backs out from it, but nevertheless he gets the inside on Nico Hülkenberg and he gets the move done. As we see some Renault cars battling right behind them in the back of the pack, but nevertheless a very good start for the Manor driver. As we now jump onto lap 2, and as we are still following Pascal Wehrlein, he gets the slipstream of Sebastian Vettel and also gets a superior power unit with the Mercedes engine on the back of his car. He gets his nose on the inside as we approach the braking zone, and that's going to turn onto the outside, and that will give the advantage to Vettel, but they are banging wheels and Pascal Wehrlein got through, so up to P7 I believe. As further back we got a battle between Nico Hülkenberg and Kimi Raikkonen. This is for P9 I believe, and they are going side by side through the chicane. Looks like Nico Hülkenberg is going to come out ahead, but they bang wheels and that slowed down all of the cars that were behind them. But Carlos Sainz gets a better exit out of them, and he's already side by side with Jenson Button. He already overtook him on the braking. He taps wheels with the Brazilian of the Williams car, and he might as well get move past him, and yes he does. You can see the Brazilian already on his mirrors, and Carlos Sainz gets promoted up to P11. Kimi Raikkonen unfortunately could not get past Nico Hülkenberg for P9 and has to stay put in P10 for now. As we move on to lap 3, and Pascal Wehrlein still making up positions. This time around he's side by side with Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen is going to have the inside out of the exit, but they lock wheels and they cannot get separated, and he throws Pascal Wehrlein onto the wall. Is now as his entire front wing completely destroyed, and as he reversed back onto the track, that caused some amount of chaos. As you can see now, Jenson Button had to avoid him. There is also the Spanish driver Fernando Alonso got tangled with the Haas driver and had to do evasive action. More than anyone else really. As you can see, another angle, and now we have the Haas car of the Mexican driver Esteban Gutierrez also having to do some kind of evasive maneuver, and Pascal Wehrlein obviously has to go onto the pits. If it's another set of the ultra soft tires on his car, and a very lengthy pit stop for him, and unfortunately he was having a very good start but has to come out of the pits in last place. As we now move on to lap 4, and we have this is Rosberg I believe battling it out for P3 I want to say, with the Australian Daniel Ricciardo. I believe this is Ricciardo, at least let me see his numbers if I get the chance to, as they are side by side. I think Rosberg has DRS, yes indeed yes, and is already past the Red Bull driver. Let me just confirm, I couldn't confirm, but I believe this is Daniel Ricciardo battling for P3, as we are now moving on to lap 5, and they are battling once again in the same sort of fashion, but the Red Bull driver couldn't get the move done, as we go onto the middle of the pack, and Carlos Sainz is battling once again for another place. This time around he's battling with Nico Hülkenberg. Nico Hülkenberg goes very slow, I think he locked up, and that allowed Felipe Massa to get the outside of his car as they go out of the chicane. At this point the ultra soft runners have very worn out tires, and that allowed for a battle between Massa and Jenson Button for now another position, as they are still battling it out. Nico Hülkenberg looks like he's going to lose out massively, as he already got overtaken by 3 cars. Yes indeed, Sergio Perez got advantage of him as well, and Felipe Massa got overtaken by the British driver of the McLaren. As we move now onto lap 6, and we are now following Kimi Raikkonen battling with Max Verstappen. I believe this might be for P5, if I saw correctly on the steering wheel, and he got a very clean maneuver on the Red Bull driver. A couple of corners behind them is the battle between Sergio Perez and Felipe Massa, I believe this is, and a very clean maneuver for Sergio Perez using the RS. Of course, we are still in the end of that same lap, and it's time for Lewis Hamilton to come into the pits, get rid of his ultra soft tires, and go out on a set of the soft tires, so he's going to take those very far onto the Grand Prix. As you can see, Ricciardo got out on a pair of the ultra soft tires as well, and is going to come out of the pits in P18 if I saw correctly, and Sebastian Vettel also on a set of ultra softs down onto P20. As we are now looking back onto Lewis Hamilton, who very quickly out of the pits got already involved in action with the Force India of Sergio Perez, who has not stopped yet. So a very comfortable maneuver for Lewis Hamilton to do around the outside, but as we get DRS and also with the Mercedes power unit on the back of the Force India, Sergio Perez was able to strike back and got the position right back, and is up to P8, and is going to give a little bit of a fight on Lewis Hamilton, as we are now jumping onto lap 8, and Nico Rosberg and I believe Felipe Massa are coming onto the pits. Nico Rosberg with a set of the soft tires, Felipe Massa with a set of, I mean it was Bottas actually, and he comes out on a pair of the ultra softs. This is Verstappen also with a change onto the ultra softs, but a front wing change as well after his antics with Pascal Wehrlein, and Rosberg comes out of the pits in P13, and Bottas in P17 right behind Ricciardo and Fernando Alonso. As we are now once again at lap 8, and Hamilton once again trying to get past the Force India of Sergio Perez. Let's see if Sergio Perez can strike back this time around. Looks like he didn't, and further back onto the pack we have Daniel Kvyat overtaking I believe it is the Danish driver Kevin Magnussen of the Renault. As he goes around the outside, they bang wheels, that's going to get Palmer very close to his teammate, and he gets DRS. Now let's see, everyone has DRS behind Kvyat, and they are going to be swarming all over his mirrors as we go onto the braking zone. Magnussen is on the inside, and they are side by side through the triple chicane, but looks like Kvyat got the upper end, and that's a huge strain that he caused by battling with the Renaults there. As we jump now onto lap 9, and we have Carlos Sainz battling for position with I believe that is the Finnish driver Kimi Raikkonen, and they are going to bang wheels once again, as the AI so many times have done throughout that section of the track. But looks like the Toro Rosso driver got away with it, and Kimi Raikkonen using the RS, he might be able to respawn. No, he ran out of track, so the consolidation of the move done by Sainz. As we jump now onto lap 10, and still Lewis Hamilton going on to through the pack, and this time around he overtook the British driver Jenson Button of the McLaren Honda. As we move now onto lap 11, and we have a battle between Lewis Hamilton And Sebastian Vettel, I want to say that is, I'm not sure, but it looks to me like it is, and a very clean maneuver on the inside, as we are now following a battle between Valtteri Bottas and Ricciardo, that is, as the Williams driver gets the DRS, he almost clips the back of Rosberg, I believe that is, as he comes onto the brakes, but got the move very cleanly, as we now jump onto lap 12, and we have the Mercedes, not the Mercedes, the McLaren Honda of Jenson Button overtaking the Ferrari of Kimi Raikkonen. But let's see, as we come out of the chicane, we have another DRS zone, and this time around it will be the Ferrari driver who is able to dispose of the DRS, and let's see if he can retake the position, as we are now approaching the next chicane, as they go side by side, and Kimi Raikkonen backs out from the move, so Jenson Button gets the move done, and now we are further back on the grid. We have a battle between Bottas and the Mercedes driver Nico Rosberg. Rosberg is still holding on to his place, Bottas has to give him space, they are still banging wheels and raised in frustration by Bottas, but Bottas looks like gets the move done, and up to P6 I believe this is, as I can see correctly on his steering wheel, as we go take a look onto the middle of the pack, and Vettel is now using the DRS to overtake Ricciardo, as we have Max Verstappen overseeing the whole transaction of places on the grid, as now it looks like everyone is going to have the DRS, as this group caught up to Ericsson, so I don't think many places will be traded in this sequence, so let's see. No, it didn't happen, so Kimi Raikkonen takes the opportunity to go into the pits at the end of that lap, and is going to switch onto a new set of the super soft tires. So let's see how quick he is on those. Looks like he is comfortable on those, so he's going to make another stint on the red-walled Pirelli tires, and he's going to come out of the pits. Let's take a look at his position, and looks like he's going to come out of the pits behind his teammate, and yes, looks like he's leading a train of both Red Bulls and Pascal Wehrlein, and as they go now onto the detecting zone for the first DRS zone. Let's see how they go. I don't think the number 7 of the Ferrari is going to be able to take DRS off of Sebastian Vettel. No, he won't. Ricciardo opens this flap on his rear wing. Pascal Wehrlein is going to take advantage of it and overtake Max Verstappen. Last time out they had a very poor incident, and Ricciardo this time out gets the move done on the Finnish driver of the Ferrari, and as you look behind, Pascal Wehrlein got cleanly past the not the Danish, but the Dutch driver of the Red Bull. Using the DRS still cannot approach the Mercedes powered Manor, as we are now looking further onto the pack, and there is a battle between Carlos Sainz and Lewis Hamilton, which Lewis Hamilton wins with his using the DRS down that very long straight, as we are now jumping onto lap 14, and I believe this is Bottas battling it out with Nico Rosberg, who is trying to get the favor paid back from the last lap, where the Finnish driver overtook Rosberg, and now they got all squandered off, they got tangled, and now Max Verstappen is looking to take advantage out of all of that. He bangs wheels with the Ferrari on the braking zone. They are still side by side. Vettel with Verstappen, they are still banging wheels as we go onto this left-hander. They are still once again touching their cars on each other, but looks like the Red Bull driver gets a move done and gets promoted up to P8, as Pascal Wehrlein is dropping back through that train. So let's see how long can he hold off, as we now have Bottas on the following lap charging on the main straight past Vettel using the DRS, as we are now in the end of the beginning of lap 16, and we are going to make a switch onto a second set of the super soft tires. Of course, we got overtaken by Hamilton, who did the switchback, the undercut on us, and now let's see how it goes. We are looking to make one less pit stop than them, I believe, and we are going to come out of the pits crucially ahead of Sainz, because if not we will have to lose more time getting disposed of them. So we are going to have quicker tires against Hamilton, but our tires are going to deteriorate quicker, so let's see if we can catch up to him, or at which rate we can catch up to him, as we are now witnessing a battle between Vettel and Rosberg. As Rosberg locks up, they bang wheels once again. Vettel banging wheels a lot during this Grand Prix, another time banging on the exit, and that allows Kimi Raikkonen to get a better exit using the RS. They are side by side through this right hand kink, and they go under braking. Vettel has better rubber on his tires and looks like he might get the move done. No, he's still hanging on to it. They are still battling, both Ferraris. So let's see, Kimi Raikkonen got the move past. It looks like, yes indeed, he got the move past his teammate, but that meant they lost a couple of car lengths on Nico Rosberg, who uses now his DRS advantage to get side by side Valtteri Bottas on this chicane. They've been battling for this position. I believe this is P8. They've been battling for it, going back and forth for a couple of laps now, as Rosberg is going to be increasingly faster compared to Bottas, as Bottas tires are going to deteriorate much quicker than Rosberg's, and Rosberg has the grip, at least similar grip at this point, because he's still holding onto the inside. They bang wheels once again. Looks like the Williams got a better exit and is now the inside. On the meanwhile, Vettel has been able to catch up with them due to their intense battling, but this time around it looks like Bottas got his position defended, as we are now on the end of that lap. This is Button getting a switch onto another set of the super soft tires. We also see Daniel Kvyat changing for a set of the ultra soft tires, and we see, I believe this is Ricciardo, I want to say, Bottas is getting serviced, getting rid of his ultra softs for a set of the super softs, and Justin Button is going to come out ahead of Nico Rosberg. So all of that battling meant that he comes out behind the Honda, but he's trying to get disposed of him very quickly out of the chicane. There's more contact, and that involved some debris on the track, some piece of a front wing of some car getting loose there, but Felipe Massa getting side by side with, I believe that is Sebastian Vettel, and he also goes on the inside of Nico Rosberg. So let's see if he can get the move done. No, he hits the inside of his wheel on the curb, and he has to concede the position, but still got a move past the Ferrari, and that's what matters, as we are now witnessing the Toro Rosso pit crew fitting the ultra soft tires onto Carlos Sainz's car. He is doing a very good race. He has been able to fight his way onto the top 5, I believe. Let's see which place is going to come out of the pits, and it looks like he's going to conserve P3. So all of those battles meant that Jenson Button even is on P4, and with a couple of a gap, a quite considerable gap, as we witness another battle between Felipe Massa and Nico Rosberg. Nico Rosberg today cannot get away from the Williams cars, and they get tangled once again, and that meant that Sergio Perez, I believe that was, got through very easily indeed, and Nico Rosberg won't have DRS, so Bottas, not Bottas, but Massa will, and gets the move done very easily, and up to P6 he is, as we are now catching up to Hamilton. So we managed to catch up to Hamilton using the rich mix and the superavit of fuel that we had, and in lap 20 we use the RS and get very cleanly done a maneuver on the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton. Now let's see, on exit we have better traction, but maybe Hamilton can get DRS and get back on the lead of the race. We broke the slipstream effect, and we conserved P1 out of that DRS zone. As we take a look behind us, and we have another battle once again for P6 between Massa and Nico Rosberg. They are still banging wheels through the chicane, and a better exit for Massa as he gets better tires at this point, but Rosberg will have DRS. He cannot get untangled from the back of the Brazilian driver, runs out of space and has to back off and stay content with P7 for now. As we take a look at Pascal Wehrlein, who went onto the pits and is trying to recover the places. He's already battling for P13 with Palmer as he goes on the inside of both Ericsson and Palmer, and he's banging wheels with the British driver, but he gets a better exit, and with his Mercedes power unit I think he will be able to resist the charge of Palmer, who goes around the outside. As you can see, we also have the Red Bull of, I want to say, Ricciardo battling with the Sauber car, and he got through, and that cost him a couple of tenths to the Renault driver, but I'm sure he will be able to bridge the gap quite quickly. As you are now taking a look at another round of the battle between Nico Rosberg and Felipe Massa. We are battling it out for P6 still, as we are following Daniel Kvyat. I believe this is, yes, he's sitting in 8th place, just waiting for a mistake from all of them. And talking about mistakes, Nico Rosberg gets a poor exit out of that left-hander. Kvyat gets the inside line and gets promoted up to P7. So Nico Rosberg, trying to battle it out for P6, finds himself demoted down to P8. As we take a look at the next lap, and Max Verstappen is going on the inside of Nico Rosberg. I believe this is, looks like Nico Rosberg must have some sort of problems, or it is these soft tires that are simply not working out for him, because he's just dropping down the grid like a stone. He got already a couple of cars of a gap to Max Verstappen, so not a very good day for the German driver, who needs to win the race and hope that Hamilton does not score 1 point in order to be able to win the championship. So the championship battle is not going accordingly to plan to Nico Rosberg, as we are now witnessing a battle for position between, I believe this is Massa, and this time around it is Kvyat. They bang wheels, Kvyat almost losing the back end, they get tangled, and Rosberg gets a better exit out of all of them. They are already 3 wide, or what looks like it. It looks like, taking a look at the mirrors, Kvyat back out from the move, and he locks up and he rams the back of Felipe Massa. Fortunately, no damage for the rear end of the Williams car, but Nico Rosberg has a piece of his front wing damage. It got loose, so he will need to repair his front wing later on into the race. As we take a look onto the next lap, and Max Verstappen, what a lovely camera angle we have right now. I really enjoyed that camera angle, and as he is battling with Felipe Massa, and he gets the move done around the outside at the exit of the chicane. Taking a look behind us, we also have a battle for P12 between Pascal Wehrlein and Daniel Ricciardo. As Ricciardo is on the outside, he might be able to pull off a similar move to what his teammates just did. But now let's see who gets DRS. Of course, Pascal Wehrlein has the best power unit, but none of them gets DRS for some odd reason. None of them gets DRS, and that meant that Ricciardo could not mount an overtaking opportunity on the Manor driver, but that is going to change on the next lap. He's going to try once again using DRS. He takes a look on the inside, under braking, he sticks his nose in there. They are going side by side, but looks like he got better traction than Pascal Wehrlein, and Pascal Wehrlein has already lost a couple of car lengths on the cart. As we now have Nico Rosberg out of the race, and that means that Lewis Hamilton is the winner of the championship of our first season in the game, of our career mode. Lewis Hamilton, unless even if he does not score, there is no way that anyone can take his position. As we can now look at the replay, Nico Rosberg had a prime chance to get the Drivers' Championship, especially after the DNF of Hamilton in Brazil, and now he's the one retiring. So just like 2014, even worse than 2014, because this time around he is not even able to finish the race. But Lewis Hamilton looks like he's going to be the winner of the championship. Now the question that remains is if I will be able to get second place off of Rosberg, as it looks like even if we finish second place we will be able to take P2 on the drivers standings. So let's see how this turns out throughout the remaining of the laps that are left on this race, as we lose the back end, got a very poor exit out of that left-hander, and Lewis Hamilton is going to get first place on the hotel section. But in the next lap we waited for this next DRS zone and we go and get our nose on the inside, and we got a little bit of a very lively backhand under braking there. We almost lost the backhand, had to make some corrections, but we got the lead once again from Lewis Hamilton, as the grip is probably at the same level on this point of the race. As we are now on to another round of pit stops, both Force India of Perez, I believe that was, and Daniel Kvyat are going to get serviced by their pit crews. Sergio Perez comes out of the pits in P10, and the Russian driver is going to come out in P14, so there's a little bit of a pair, as we have Kimi Räikkönen and then a pair of his teammate and some other car right in front. We are now jumping onto the pit stop window for Lewis Hamilton. He's going to come out of the pits with a set of the ultra soft tires and he's going to rejoin the track. I believe it is in P2, yes indeed. And Jenson Button was just too far ahead, but still is conserving P3 because we have now the pit stop from this is Carlos Sainz, as he gets fitted with a set of the ultra softs and is going to come out of the pits in P5 behind what looks like the Williams of Felipe Massa maybe, but is going to get up on him with better rubber through that chicane and the hairpin, and he gets DRS and he gets the inside line onto the chicane, but that's going to benefit Felipe Massa on the exit. Let's see, they bang wheels once again, but with superior traction. Looks like the Toro Rosso got a better exit, but Massa is going to have DRS and the superior power unit, so let's see how this goes. It chooses to go around the outside of the Spanish driver and gets very cleanly done. Right before the braking zone, he got cleared past of the Spanish driver and got up to P5, as we are now with our pit stop, as we are going to go on to the end of the Grand Prix with a set of the soft tires, as opposed to Lewis Hamilton, who is on a set of the ultra softs and is going to have to make another pit stop, as I think it is for a set of the super soft tires. And we are going to come out in P2 behind them, as we are now witnessing a battle between I think this is Verstappen, yes it is Verstappen, battling it out with Jenson Button. I believe this is for P3 at this point. They are still banging wheels, and let's see who has DRS out of this. It looks like it is Max Verstappen. Is already side by side with the British driver. He also has the superior power unit. I don't remember which is the tire wear situation, but the Dutch driver gets easily the move done, as we are now on lap 31, and Sebastian Vettel battling it out for P11, I believe this is, with the Manor of Pascal Wehrlein. They are still side by side and they are banging wheels. Let's see who gets the DRS out of all of this. Looks like it will be the Manor, and the Manor using his superior power unit along this straight. They get side by side, they banged wheels, but Pascal Wehrlein got the move done. As we now take a look at the driver, at the whole grid essentially, and Max Verstappen in third, Button fourth, Sainz fifth, Bottas sixth, Daniel Ricciardo seventh, Perez in eighth, Pascal Wehrlein in ninth, but he's going to have to make another pit stop I believe very soon, and then we go down onto the grid, and the only DNF so far is the Mercedes of Nico Rosberg. As we are now taking a look at the pit stop from this is Daniel Ricciardo I believe, who is going to be serviced by his pit crew and is going to fit a set of the soft tires, so he's going on to the end of the race. The same can be said for Sebastian Vettel, who comes out of the pits in P14, so Ricciardo is in front of him, so maybe P13 or maybe even further up the grid, as we are now witnessing Daniel Kvyat with fresh ultra soft tires battling it out for 8th place with Pascal Wehrlein, and the superior traction, as Pascal Wehrlein has very worn out tires at this point. and he gets the move done, as we witness also Max Verstappen at the end of lap 34 getting serviced by his pit crew, another car fitting the soft tires is the Jenson Button, and we have also Bottas fitting the soft tires on his car, as we have Max Verstappen coming out of the pits in P5 and Button is in P6, and let's see where, yes, Bottas is in P13 by the time he comes out of the pits, as we now have a battle between Jenson Button. No, Kvyat hesitated on which side he was going to overtake on, and looks like he ran out of space and lost a very important bit off of his front wing, and looks like he's going to have to stay put in P7, and that means a very lengthy pit stop once he goes onto the pits to get rid of those ultra soft tires, as we now have I believe this is the Australian driver, yes, Daniel Ricciardo, using the DRS to get past Felipe Massa, as they are both banging wheels. Ricciardo almost losing the back end, gets up to P9, but let's see if the Mercedes powered Williams can get back on the Australian for P9, and looks like he's going to do so indeed. He just blazes past the Red Bull and gets back on P9, as we are now jump onto lap 37, and this is a battle for P4 between Perez and Max Verstappen, as Perez must be with heavily worn out tires. He is going to make another pit stop very soon, as they are go side by side as we go uphill and now downhill through this right-hander, and there is contact between the front wheels of Perez and the back wheels of not Hamilton, but Max Verstappen, and he got the move done, as we now go for round 2 of Ricciardo versus Felipe Massa, and they are going side by side through the chicane. Once again, Ricciardo getting the upper end, but let's see who gets the DRS. Of course, those two drivers are very close friends outside of the track, but let's see how they behave between the track limits this time around. Massa goes on the inside, Ricciardo gives him the space, but I think, yes, Ricciardo gets the move done with the better chassis, better cornering speed, and got the move done. We see now jump onto lap 38, and as I just pointed out a couple of laps ago, Lewis Hamilton comes onto the pits on a set of the super softs. Of course, they are going to be fresher and faster than my soft tires, as you just saw me doing the hairpin as I am being followed by a Renault. As we are now witnessing a battle between Bottas and the Brazilian driver, and looks like the Finnish got the upper end this time around. This is a battle for P8, I believe, and looks like Massa might be able to strike back. Let's see, he lost out a little bit under acceleration, but he now gets the DRS, but he runs out of track to be able to mount an overtaking maneuver, as we are now in lap 40, another one of the ultra soft tires making a switch onto the super softs, and I believe that he is going to come out of the pits maybe in P7. He has done a brilliant race so far. He has been in the top 3 and the top 5 consistently, but now let's see where he rejoins on the track, if that is possible by my editing. I'm still not sure, but looks like he's behind Jenson Button at this point, and yes, he came out of the pits in P5, as we are now in lap 42. He gets DRS on the McLaren Honda, he picks the outside and gets cleared easily out of the chicane and through the DRS zone, as we are now in lap 44, and Lewis Hamilton, the number 44 on his car, and is approaching me. He will be able to use DRS in the next DRS zone, which is coming up right now, and he might have an advantage of me even without DRS, because as you might have just caught up, we have a message from Jeff saying that our engine is suffering slight wear, and we are going to see a decrease in the power output from the Mercedes power unit onto the rest of the car. So we are going to be heavily pressurized by Lewis Hamilton in the next following laps, as we are now witnessing a battle between Sergio Perez and Felipe Massa. This is for P9, I believe, as the pair is still behind Valtteri Bottas. They go banging wheels once again on the outside of the chicane, and let's see who has DRS. Looks like both of them got DRS Yes, both of them got DRS, but it looks like it is Sergio Perez who gets the inside, and I believe, yes, he has softer tires than the Brazilian and gets the move pass up to P8, as we are now with 10 laps to go, and we are witnessing Jenson Button dropping through the grid as he does not have the power to fight with the cars that are in front of him, and that is Max Verstappen overtaking. No, I mean that was Ricciardo overtaking the Honda-powered McLaren, as we now have a battle between Hamilton and myself, as he's side by side with us. We bang wheels, we have to concede the position, we nearly lose the back, and they come smashing with us once again. Fortunately, no damage for our car as we get the DRS, and we put our rich mix, and we get the inside line. He goes braver on the brakes, we tap that little bump on the inside, and we go a little bit wider than we wanted, but that allowed us to close the door on Hamilton and conserve our first place, as we are now in lap 49, and we are still being chased by Lewis Hamilton, and both Renaults approached us due to all of that battling, as he is going to get a better exit out of the final corner, better traction overall, and he's on the inside line as we approach the first corner. And let's see who gets ahead. Oh, there is a crash! There is a crash between both Renaults, and Lewis Hamilton, the virtual safety car, has been deployed. Kevin Magnussen is out of the race. Looks like Lewis Hamilton, if I remember correctly, he only got disposed of his front wing, as we take a look of the perspective of Kevin Magnussen as we get tangled, and then very unsafely the manner in which Hamilton came back onto the track. And as we take a look at the Mexican of the Oz, he just plows the side pod of Lewis Hamilton, and he crashes out of the race, Kevin Magnussen. But by some miracle, Lewis Hamilton only got out of that with front wing damage, as well as a 5-second stop and go, I believe that was. I didn't count, but it looked like a 5-second penalty, as they are going to switch the wheels for a set of the Ultra Softs, make a change on his front wing, and away he goes. And I think he's going to come out of the pits around P7. Yes, indeed, he's going to come out in P7 with clear air, at least behind him, and looks like in front of him as well. As we are now witnessing Daniel Ricciardo battling without, I believe this is for P4, no, this is P3 now because of the incident with Lewis Hamilton, and he's battling for P3 with Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz does not have the best car compared to that Red Bull, of course, and Ricciardo gets the move done. Let's see if Carlos Sainz gets back on him using DRS. It looks like he's not approaching too quickly, as he runs out of space, and the number 55 is not able to overtake the number 3, and he has to stay put with P4 for now. As we go a little bit later, I believe this is 3 laps to go now, and there is problems. It looks like there is problems on the Red Bull of Max Verstappen, because they had quite a comfortable lead before the incident with Hamilton, but now he dropped back with a rather easy maneuver for Daniel Ricciardo, even though he had DRS. But now it is Verstappen's turn to get DRS, and even with DRS he's not even getting close to his teammate, so definitely some kind of problem for the Dutch driver. On the following lap, I believe this is lap 54, we have Carlos Sainz with the DRS getting the P3, and let's see if Max Verstappen, even with the problems he is suffering, let's see if he can get back. Looks like he's losing out on the acceleration. Looks like he's having problems with the power deployment out of the chicane, as he's not even getting close, he's not even closing the ground up to Sainz. So looks like it will be P3 for Carlos Sainz. It's the first podium of his career, a very good performance. And as we come onto the last laps of the race, we didn't get an immense battle for the championship decider between Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton, but nevertheless we are going to get P2, as we are going to take a stroll onto the last corner, and we cross over the line to take the win at the final race of the season. We take the win of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, a very good race. We had some nice battles and a very good result.
And so the celebrations begin, and well earned they are indeed. It may have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level, at the very top, is anything but simple. There's no catching them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion. Brilliant stuff from Manor today. What a superb victory. Tell me, Alex, what was the key to this success?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
Here they are now, the drivers are on their way out after that spectacular race. You know, there's a lot of love for this team in the paddock and all over the world. What a victory here from Manor.
So we now take a look at the race results. We won the Grand Prix, followed by Daniel Ricciardo and Carlos Sainz. Max Verstappen, despite these problems, in P4. Lewis Hamilton recovered up to P5. Jensen Button in P6, despite his great race. Sergio Perez 7th, Bottas 8th, Pascal Wehrlein in 9th, and Felipe Massa being able to finish where he started and close out the top 10. As we go back onto our motorhome, and we have a message that says, "We are delighted to announce that your performance has been above our expectations and you finished second in the Drivers' Championship. You and your teammate Pascal Wehrlein also amassed enough points for us to rank 4th in the constructor standings. We look forward to progressing even further next season. Now take some time to relax. You've earned it." And that is a message from our HQ. And now let's take a meeting with our agent.
Good to see you. I just finished these new contract offers. Check them out. Let me know what you want to do.
Okay, so this will be the team that we are going to pick for our career mode in the F1 2017 season. And out of the 4 that are presented to us, we are going to pick the AS team. Yes, we are going with the American team, and yeah, let's see how that goes on to the next season. We just signed the contract with the Gene AS team, and let's see how that goes. So this is it for the Abu Grand Prix, the last season of our F1 2016 career mode. We weren't able to win the World Drivers' Championship, but still a very good performance. Nonetheless, very exciting races throughout the whole season. Hope you guys enjoyed. I certainly did. If you enjoyed the video, leave it a like and stick around for more content. I'm sure you guys have many more videos that you can enjoy, as I'm just leaving you guys with the driver standings at the end of the season. See you guys in the next race, and have a wonderful day.